Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. We again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but in my opinion, the prices at the end of the day, as close as you can get them to the closing price, are the most valid prices of the day. And I say this because during the day, you have the algorithms and day traders battling it out. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in with size and they take control of the price and move it to what they think is the most valid price of the day. And so that is why I like to make the majority of my buying and selling decisions based upon the closing, just as close as I can get to the closing price. Hey, Evan is here. Good to see you, Evan. Always nice to have you, my friend. Ramble Ron. Wow, what a day, what a week, what a month. Yeah, I'm speechless, Ron, honestly. Good play I should see, but didn't on APRN. APRN. Oh, Blue Apron? Oh my. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense. Look at this bar. Look at this bar here, Ron, with the big move up, the big volume. Something was happening. Hey, it's only up 130% today. Not too bad. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so another epic day. I mean, I don't really know any other way to describe it. The Dow is currently down 1,782 points, down 8.41%. NASDAQ is down 453 points, down 6.18. S&P down 186 points, down 7.37%. Of course, the coronavirus has been spreading and markets are in a panic. If this isn't a panic, I don't know what is a panic. So I hope you're all staying safe out there. I hope you're positioning size conservatively. I don't know how really you can make money in this market from the long side, but at least positioning size conservatively, helps mitigate those losses. And sometimes the market is not just about making money, but it's mitigating losses and preserving capital on the downside. Hey, Miko25, how you doing? It was really, really great speaking with you last night, putting a face to the name. And I always like that. Sometimes I talk to people here in the chat for weeks or months, and then one day I can put a face to the name. So that's always nice. Ramble Ron says, yep, they deliver food. Yes, they do. They definitely do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So it has been an interesting day for me as well. I'll show you this over here. Earthquake update. Rumors of bigger quake coming untrue. Utah officials asking people to, well, I'm not sure. But anyway, I was woken up this morning by an earthquake. We had a 5.7 earthquake in Utah. The whole house just shook and rattled, and I thought, what is going on? And then we had several aftershocks. So it's quite an interesting month. We have a market crash, we have a pandemic, and throw in some earthquakes on top. But anyway, I'm fine. I think everyone else is fine. They actually closed down the international airport in Salt Lake City. So anyway, pretty epic stuff. Christopher Hitchin is here. Good to see you. Oh, always nice to have you. Hope you're having a good evening. Steve says, I'm glad the earthquake didn't knock you off the air today. I kind of knew it was an earthquake, but I was asleep and I was kind of like talking myself in like, oh, that's the garbage truck or something's rattling. But man, was it an earthquake. Holy smokes. Yep. Good to see you, Steve. Always an honor to have you here, my friend. Always a privilege to have you here and be able to speak with you in the chat. Kamal is here. Hey, Kamal. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Staying safe over there in this crazy time. Zach is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Zach. Good to see you, my friend. Okay, well, like I said, pretty epic day. So listen, this is the plan for today. First of all, we're going to go through my current positions. We're going to talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. After that, okay, we don't have any other positions from anyone. After that, well, first of all, legal disclaimer. Secondly, come back, take a look at my current positions. when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. Then we're going to spend some time on trader psychology. You know, if people didn't take trading psychology and discipline serious before, and I would imagine that a lot of people didn't. The market just went up and just went up and went up. I can imagine how people would be pretty lax on that, but it's very, very important to have discipline, get out when you're supposed to. I know it never feels good to get out of a losing trade. I completely understand that, but boy, would everybody have been glad to get out of their stocks 4, 5, 6 days ago, right? And taking that initial loss. So anyway, we're going to talk about trader psychology. You know, one thought, if there was a new trader, recent trader that just came into this market, can you imagine what their view is of trading? And I mean, they might think it's like this all the time. Or if they came into trading when the market was just going up all the time, you know, they had that emblazoned upon their minds. So this has been pretty epic for sure. Ramble says, well, I need to go back to work. People need their internet more than ever. Okay, Ron, thank you, sir. Appreciate you stopping by. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. Nice to have you here. Bob is here. Hello, all. Hello to Bob. Steve says, oil down 24%. Third worst down day ever. Yeah, I know. It's incredible. It really, really is incredible. Frank says, oh, I think this is a poem. Stocks have yields they can't sustain as prices drop in so much pain. Time to buy, the pundits cry as sellers shrug and just sigh. Money gone in an instant as we practice social distance. Yes, very good, Frank. Thank you so much. I'm just amazed how you can come up with this every day. I couldn't come up with one if you gave me a week. But I guess that's a skill Frank has. Thank you. Joe says, hi, Greg. Hope the quake didn't shake you up too much. Well, everyone's fine, although I do hear some like big vehicles and stuff. I don't know if something broke. I guess the electricity's still working, the water's still working, but yeah, pretty crazy. Poem has, but thank you, Joe. Joe says, Poem, interest rates are down. You can buy the land by the acre. The market went wild and tripped the circuit breaker. Go dig up your money from under the rocks. So when this is over, you can buy stocks. Aha, bravo, bravo. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, sir. That's good stuff there. Both of them, both Frank and you. Great stuff. Thank you. Marco's, hey, what's going on? Marco's here from Slovenia. Hope you're having a good afternoon, Marco. Thank you for a good evening. And Marco says, mad market. Yeah, I guess so, right? Kind of an understatement at this point. All right, listen, let's run the U.S. legal disclaimer, get that out of the way, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at all this carnage. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we're all good. Hey Bing He, good to see you, my friend. Nice to have you here as always. Hope you're having a good morning. Elton, how you doing? Alton says, where you invest in? Well, I'm going to go over my current positions right now, Alton, and explain my strategy. So first of all, let's go ahead and look. I actually had 2 trades on Apple. I did buy Apple yesterday. Thankfully, I only bought a half a position. I bought it here. We had a nice signal. We had a close under the 200, close under the third ATR channel, and nice close, strong close back above. But The market did not cooperate. I got in at 254.32, got out at 241.53, which is how it goes. But it's been getting old lately, right? I'm sure you guys can relate. Did rallied up, tried to get up above the 200-day moving average, and it failed. But I did get out here because of my emergency stop, my 5% emergency stop. But again, thankfully, I only had a half a position. It was bad enough as it is. Then secondly, I did write deep out of the money puts on Apple. I wrote them down to $170 by January 15th of 21. I got $1,380 per contract, which is a ton, but the reason you got a ton is because the volatility and the risk is so high. So as long as the price stays over 170 by the time this expires, I'll be able to keep all the premium, the $1,380 per contract. But I don't know. Right now, I feel like there are no puts that are low enough. So, the way that I trade options is as long as the price is above my strike price, I keep them, try to run out the clock. If it were to close under my strike price, even before the expiration period, I would have to go out, or I would have to just go ahead and take my loss. We'll have to see what the market conditions are at that time. I feel like I wouldn't mind buying Apple at 170, but just to be determined. These are out of ways. Still a lot of protection, but on a day like today, you're like, boy, I should have wrote those another 40% lower. So still about 30% protection to the downside. So we'll see what happens. Oh, I'm having an earthquake right now, guys. Holy smokes. Wow. So anyway, suffice it to say, if the internet connection goes out from the earthquake, you'll know why I went off the air. Wow, that's crazy. It's even scarier when you're awake. Oh, okay. Disney. So I did also write puts on Disney. Thank goodness I didn't take any directional positions on Disney. I sold these down here at $50. So as long as Disney stays above $50 by January 15th, I'll be able to keep the $375 per contract. Currently, that gives me about 42% protection to the downside here. So we'll see how those play out. We will see how those play out. But generally, if it goes below my strike price even before the expiration period, that's my stop on the trade. So what I'd really like this to do is just settle down, go sideways, eat up some of that premium and get some of that time decay. But, on big down days like this, that gamma really increases. I'll tell you one thing here on Disney, though. You can see we were much lower earlier, and we've rallied back up into the top half of this bar. You can see the volume on this is huge, even though we're not at the end of the day yet. So, some people would consider that somewhat of a washout, somewhat of a capitulation down here at the bottom. Time will tell. But I do like the increased volume here and this kind of spent bar to the downside and back up. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Gold. Well, another challenge today. My Trade Navigator has not posted the last two bars. You can see the last bar before today was the 13th. Now on this bar it is the 18th. So I talked to Trade Navigator today. They say they're working on it, but I did buy it here at 141.94. Luckily hit a couple profit targets yesterday, down 1.7%. That's like being up on a day like today, but I am watching this. My initial stop was the 200-day moving average, so if it closes over the 200, I will be keeping that. If not, I will be getting out. Qs, again, deep puts that I sold down here. I sold them down to $130. They expire on June 30th, $350 per contract, which is really good, but it comes with the territory of being very volatile and very risky. About 25% protection to the downside. I don't know if it's going to hold or not, but again, if it closes below here, Generally, that is my signal to have to take a stop loss. You need stop losses both on regular direction trades and also on options as well. Joe Turner says late aftershocks. Yeah, there's been a bunch. Man, that was spooky. Spooky. Zach says, stay safe, Greg. We'll be saying a prayer for you and Katie. Thank you. I appreciate that, Zach. Thank you very much. Kamal, wow, that is a commitment. Greg, live stream through an earthquake. Hey, that's right. We have this recorded. We have this recorded. We can go back. Wow, that was scary. I mean, it got pretty gnarly there for a second. So if the electricity does go out, it's going to shut down the live stream. So anyway, if that happens, you'll know what happened, right? Atlas says, for real, I promise you. If I would have had a video camera on, you would see everything shake. You know, when I was in my teens, like 19, I was at a junior college and I swam there, and I actually bought a VW bus and I lived in that bus, and I rented out a driveway of somebody in San Diego. And there was another guy next to me that had a camper van as well. And one morning my van was shaking and shaking and shaking. And I thought it was my friend Paul from the other van, like pushing my van around just to mess with me. I'm like, Paul, knock it off. I looked out the window and he looked out of the van of his window looking at me, and we were like, oh my gosh. Anyway, it was a major earthquake. But I guess being inside a Volkswagen van, probably not a bad place. Okay, SPY. Okay, well, let's quickly go over this. We do it every day, but I do buy the SPY every day at the close of the market, and I sell it first thing in the morning. I do it based upon a back study from Liz Ann Saunders since 1993. She's at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. Two options with this approach: buying SPY at the open, selling it at the close. That's option one, number one. If you have used this option every day since 1993, you'd return a negative 13.9% return. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, and buy the SPY at the close each day, sell it the first thing next morning, the return was 634.2%. No, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Boy, has that never been truer than right now. But long term, trying to look at this long term, you can see the equity curve has gone up over time. It has shown to have an edge. However, there are periods of major drawdowns, and I am going through one of these right now. For sure. Doesn't mean that in the big picture it doesn't work, but it really drives home the point that you need to, if you're going to use this approach like I do, to position size conservatively. Now, I was at a 10% position size yesterday because of the couple days because of volatility. I skipped it for a day, which was up the next morning. And yesterday I did take it. Last night I took it as well, but I did take a quarter position, so I'm grateful for that. So, and I will take another quarter position today as well. I don't want to get out of the habit of taking my trades, but reducing my position size for volatility makes sense. So I did buy a quarter position here at 252.80, got out at 236.25. We are lower than that. Earlier we were much lower than that, but anyway, I will be buying that again. And then lastly, Exxon. I did sell puts on Exxon. This is the one that concerns me the most. The other ones I'm pretty good with. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I do have puts on SPY at 200 as well. This expires on Friday. So if the market can withstand another 16% or so to the downside till Friday, these will come in the money and I'll get the premium. But in this market, who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. So anyway, I'm just trying to run out the clock on these, stay in these as long as they're above my strike price. But if they're not, I'm going to have to just get out. Okay, lastly, Exxon. I did sell contracts down here, 115.21, $300 per contract down to $25. It's at 2032.58. So, this is the one that concerns me. But if it does close under $25, I'm going to have to go ahead and just use my stop loss, my exit signal, and just get out of this and take the loss. But I can tell you what, not a great day by any means. But I am very thankful, at least, that I took the approach to sell these deep out of the money puts, as the delta on these, are quite low. So the percentage that it moves compared to the percent of the stock is low. So anyway, trying to look for things to be thankful for here, and I am genuinely thankful that I did not have a lot of directional trades and large positions, because on a day like today with large directional positions, boy, can you get beat up for sure. Um, Let me take a look here. I did not do any day trades today whatsoever, although I did have I had a good setup here. I didn't take it just because the market was so brutal. And, this is a good time to mention. If you have huge position sizes and you run into a market like this, you are going to get so hammered and deflated and have the winds taken out of your sails that you're not going to want to take a trade. And this is a little bit what happened to me today here. I like this setup. We have a low, we have a rally, we come down here close to another low. We had red MACD bars, rally, back down, no MACD bars. This is a double bottom with the bullish divergence. Could have taken this V1 entry here, or could have taken it here. The next bar, we had the one bar, then we had this bar go up and come down, form a V1. That's what painted this orange triangle. That's a bearish bar that immediately got reversed with a bullish bar, and look at that run. But actually, I mean, the main reason I didn't take this is because I already have puts on Walt Disney, and I just didn't want the added correlation. So anyway, that would have been a super trade, but I was happy for that rally anyway because I sold puts. Alton says, how to predict stock price? Well, you really can't, Alton. That's the thing. That's why I'm a price action stock trader, right? I base upon what the price is doing, having a good risk to reward. That's probably a good time for me to say, when I look for entering in new positions, I want to have three criteria, Alton. First criteria, I want to look for a combination or a confluence of indicators. I look at each indicator as a group of buyers. You have a better chance to have a profitable trade if you are in the company with as many other buyers as possible. So that's requirement number one. Number two, have to have a good risk to reward ratio. You have to be able to make more to the upside to the downside based upon your support below and your resistance above. And number three, very important, you cannot have too much correlation. You cannot have too many tech stocks. You need to diversify in the type of stocks you have, the different industries you have. And more important than all of that right now is account heat. You don't want to have 60%. For me, 60% of my account, that's the maximum that I will ever put at risk. So if it goes to zero in a blink of an eye, I still have 40% left. And you can probably appreciate the wisdom of that now in this kind of market. Zach says, if you ever figure it out, Alton, please let me know. Yes, me as well. Joe says, I'm expecting Apple to rally around 1540 so I can get out with a minimal loss. Well, I'm rooting for you, bud, because I do have puts on Apple. So that would be good. That would be good. Has not hit, well, actually for me, yeah, I did. I hit my emergency stop here at 241. Well, we will see what happens. I really hope that does happen for you and for all the other people that have Apple. I know a lot of people, I've always talked about my friend that has a lot of Apple. My gosh, it's just got clobbered. Frank says, hard to imagine this market will ever be the same after this trauma. I agree, Frank. I was thinking the exact same thing today. I think trading in the future might be a little different. People have been so devastated by trading and the fear. I see the market being choppy for a while. I just can't see another trend happening. I just see people selling into strength. It may have changed the landscape forever. Who knows? Or at least for a long time. At least for a long time. Yeah, I 100% agree, Frank. All right. So listen, this is the time of the day where I do like to talk about trader psychology. Of course, in this kind of market environment, it's more relevant than ever. I like to look for good trading words of wisdom, great posts from people on Facebook and Twitter. And this is from Uzair Hussein. This is over on the New Traders, Rich Traders on Facebook. Steve's over there on that post or that channel as well. But Uzair posts some really good things lately, and I've been following him. So let's take a look. This is from Adam Grimes. As a trader, your losses are your cost of doing business, and you cannot have profits without those losses. You must learn to think over the next 20 trades, or as I say, the next 1,000 trades, not the next single trade. You must avoid attaching too much importance to any outcome. If you truly understand loss, you can accept that loss, make it part of who you are, and use it for your success, by Adam Grimes. So very true. I mean, look, any business that sells anything, if you sell wheelbarrows, right, you buy them at a certain price and then you sell them and hopefully sell them for a profit, but you still have to buy them. That's your cost of goods. In the trading business, your losses are your cost of goods. So they are part of the business, and you should get used to them, because you're going to have strings of winners and you're going to have strings of losers. But what Adam says here, you must learn to think over the next 20 trades, or like I say, the next 1,000 trades, not the next single trade. Don't put your whole lifestyle, don't put your whole account in one particular trade or one week, right? Think of it as the long term. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Cost of every single business in the world has cost of goods, and trading is one of them as well. So keep that in mind. Don't let them affect you too much. And again, the way not to have them affect you is to position size conservatively. Then you'll have smaller losses. So anyway, thank you, Uzair Hussein. I appreciate that, and I think this is good advice, and I hope that was helpful. Ryan D. Hey, Ryan. SPY really needs to close above 233.76. Sellers are stepping back in. Steve Burns says, to me, 2008 seems tame. Oh, totally. 2008 went down a lot, but it took a long time. This has all happened all at once, which of course amplifies emotions and fear and all sorts of stuff. Christopher says, now's the time to learn and study. There will be some amazing opportunities in the future. I think that's really good advice, Christopher. Yes, there definitely will be. There definitely will be. But again, at least for myself, I'm not anticipating them. I want to have the price action tell me. Ryan says, agreed, Frank. So many people were leveling into their mutual funds and ETFs on these companies that used all the free cash flow to buy back their stock. That's true. That was one of the reasons we had this big move up, because they did use stock to buy back stock, like Boeing, right? Now Boeing is really in trouble. Alton says, can we do any calculations with volume, buyers and sellers, and watching news about stock? Some people trade trading off of news, but I'll tell you, Alton, you are up against a formidable foe if you are trying to trade off of news, competing with some of the large financial institutions with all the technology and the speed they have. Calculations with volume. Yeah, volume is something that I look at, definitely. I was just talking about Disney here. We've had this bit of a reversal bar on Disney. We finally have had some increased volume here. Let me show you another good example too. Boy, where was my example? Well, here's an example on the SPY, right? We are down today, obviously, but the volume here is less than the volume on the moves down here, which to me, that's a bit bullish. That's showing that it's going down, but it's doing it on less volume. So to me, that's bullish. So if you see something going up and up, higher and higher and higher, but on less volume and less volume, to me, that's bearish. So anyway, one thing that did stick out to me. Frank says, absolutely, Steve. This time is different. Christopher says, I say never quit, especially when the going gets hard. Time for a plan, I say. 100%, sir. 100%. Christopher says, I never, I think he meant trade on news. It is only ends bad in my experience. Yes, I agree with that as well. Okay, well, interesting. We got through a lot of this. Let's go down. Let's see, where are we at right now? Down 1,800 points. Let's just go down, spend some time on the charts, kind of evaluate these things and see what's happening. Okay, Apple did get out there at 241.53 today on my Apple trade, so that's gone. I'm going to take that off. Well, I'll leave that on because Joe's in there. Maybe it will close above the 200. I hope it does. You know, Apple has been fairly strong. It is under its 200-day, but it's still over its negative third ATR channel. So, you know, the relative strength here is pretty good. Oh, you know, one thing I wanted to show you before we get started on that, I wanted to show you the losses of the Dow. So to date, for this year, Dow is down approximately 31.7%. Can you imagine that in 3 months? 31.7. It's just unbelievable. You know, there are quite a few times in the last century we have gone down, or in the last 100 years we've gone down 50% from the top. So we're down 30. Look, there's nothing to say we can't go down another 20%. NASDAQ close to 20% for the year, and the SPY about 27% for the year. Incredible. Incredible. Historic. Okay. Adobe. You know, this is, I do, you know, I talk about position size and I talk about not having too many correlated positions and not too much account heat. You know, yesterday I took Apple, right? I took it here at 254.32, took the half position, got out today with my emergency stop at 241.53. Now, I can't remember who it was. Somebody mentioned Adobe. Well, look, Adobe did look good yesterday. It went under the negative third ATR channel, went under the 200, went over, under the 250, closed back above. You know, theoretically giving you a pretty good risk to reward. However, look, it's down 9.9%. It was almost down 10%, 20% at one point today. But you know, I have a rule where I do not take more than one position in any one sector on any one day. Like I could take Apple one day, I could take Adobe the next day. That's different, but I can't take them at the same time. And, you know, just right there, look how that really benefited, having that rule benefited me, right? I did take Apple, took a loss on it, 100%, but imagine if I would have doubled up on Adobe, you know, and I consider Apple and Adobe tech stocks, right? Kind of in the same industry. So anyway, I did want to show that to you. Anyway, nothing here on Adobe. Amazon, down today, but pretty good considering, so pretty good relative strength. I would consider buying Amazon if it closed above the 200-day moving average, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that today. Boeing is just epic. I mean, I don't even know how to explain this. I mean, this was a $433 stock, and this is Boeing, right? Now we're under $100 a share. Under $100 a share. From 430 to 100, down 20% just today. You know, Boeing is, you know, right on the cusp of running out of money and, you know, possibly going bankrupt if they don't get some kind of bailout from the Gov. So anyway, nothing on Boeing. Berkshire Hathaway, like everything else, has just got crucified. It is holding above the 30 RSI, which is somewhat impressive, I would say. But nothing for me on Berkshire here today. Beyond Meat, you know, with everything going on, I think plant-based meat products right now are not on the top of everyone's mind. I mean, this thing has fallen more than in half. Well, more than that. We were $238. Now we're $53, down 11% just today. Caterpillar down 2.6, not too bad actually, but look at the damage that has happened here. You know, imagine if your stop was the 200-day and you didn't adhere to your stop. Look what would have happened. right? Dow Jones, we went over that. Under the 30 RSI right now. One little bright spot, you know, we're going down and down and down and down and down, but the RSI levels, even though we're much lower here than we were up here, the RSI levels are higher. So that's a bullish divergence there, but that's about it right now. Walt Disney, we talked about that. I do like the volume. I like how we bounced off the low with some volume here. But again, I sold puts on Walt Disney down to $50, so there's no reason for me to take another position. Frank says the market is beginning to feel like a Charlton Heston movie. Yeah, what was that movie he was in with all the zombies? I forgot. And then they made a remake with Will Smith, I Am Legend. Marathon Man, maybe? Imagine being short Apron. Oh, yeah, Steve. Can you imagine? Holy smokes. Dr. Jorgensen says, geez, I bought some Beyond Meat today. Guess it didn't help. You didn't buy enough, Bruce. Zach says, I pondered getting into aprons so much this morning, obviously kicking myself. Oh, bummer, Zach. It's always tough. Mount Doji says, I was thinking about shorting Uber or Lyft. I'm concerned about buying anything or selling anything. Well, it's down 24 bucks here. Well, let me know what you do. Let me know what you do. Let's look at Lyft. It's carnage. Evan says, Dr. J, I eat it almost daily. Yeah, I think Bruce does as well. All right, let's take another look here. Etsy down 10%. It seems like it's pretty standard to be down 10% today or close to it, especially for the high flyers. This is unbelievable. Again, you know, if the importance of having a stop and sticking to it, you know, if you'd have got out under the 200, it wouldn't have been fun, but holy smokes. Facebook down 5.3%, 29.69. We're under the 30-day moving average. You know, if we look over here at the weekly chart, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, we've blasted through all support just like hot butter through a knife. Gold, I do have gold. My stop is a close under the 200-day. So if it closes under the 200-day, I'm going to have to just get out of this. Google is holding the 30 RSI, but down 6%. Let's look over on the weekly. You know, it looks like it found a little support here at the 200-week moving average, but right now I believe it's under. Yeah, it is under. Goldman Sachs down 14% just today. Just today. Oh my gosh. We were just at 249. So, you know, it's lost half of its value. Unbelievable. Home Depot is going to be ugly. Home Depot's down 17% today. Just today. It's down 41%. 41% in the last 2 months. Can you imagine? IBB, it's range bound at least. It's not just going straight down. It is a bit range bound, so that's somewhat showing a little bit of relative strength. But anyway, nothing there for me. Intel down 9%. That's unbelievable. But range bound. It's not making a new low like so many other things. IWM, boy, I'll tell you, if there's any good move that I've made in the last little while, it was shorting IWM back up here. Not for myself, but for a friend of mine, did buy puts up here and added to them. So that's been a monster. It's been like a 450% return on those puts. Crazy, right? 23 RSI, nothing there. Johnson & Johnson, nothing on J&J. CarMax is, oh, wow. Look, it was down 20% earlier in the day when I looked at it. This is why it surprised me. It's only down 7.87% here. So that's good. I mean, you know, it's good it was able to rally off its low. Coca-Cola down 10%. You would think, safer company, safer business model, consumer product. Nothing has been able to hide in this market. Lockheed Martin actually up today. Interesting. MasterCard down 8% today, did make a new low. Looks like it's holding the 30 RSI. That's somewhat positive, but I tell you, indicators and readings these days have not meant much with all this fear. McDonald's down 9%. I mean, this seems as bad as Home Depot from the high. 38%. Maybe not that bad, not as bad as Home Depot, but still nothing to buy there. Merck down 6.83%. I don't see anything there. Microsoft has not made a new low, so those are, it is range bound. It is holding. Doesn't mean it can't make a new low. That's for sure. Netflix only down 3.42%, made a run over the 200-day moving average, and now it's lost that as well. Nike down 5.78%. Don't see anything there. Philip Morris down 14% just today. A lot of people get into dividend stocks because they think, well, I'm going to make this kind of dividend. Well, what does Philip Morris probably pay a 10% dividend? But, in the last 3 years, it's down 39.82%. So, and just recently, my gosh, just since this month, down 27%. Yeah, these are hard charts to look at for sure. PayPal holding above the 30 RSI. That's somewhat impressive, but I don't see anything there. Q's holding above the 30 RSI. That is at least good. SPY. Of course, I had that overnight trade. Bought it 252.80 and sold it 236.25. So nothing there, but again, quarter position. I will be taking another quarter position tonight as well. It's interesting. Look at bonds. Through all this turmoil, bonds have actually sold off, which makes interest rates higher. So, I don't know. We could have stagflation coming. Stagflation is when you have higher interest rates. I mean, when you have higher interest rates and lower growth. Tesla down 17% today. I was looking at this earlier to see if it might hold above the 200-day. I was thinking possibly take a small position on Tesla here. I'll mark it, but I'll tell you what, if I take a position, it'll probably be a 10% position size. Oh, Twitter, 28 RSI under the 30. United Airlines down 33.42% today. Today, it's a $20 stock. This used to be a $97 stock. Can you imagine the people that just wrote it down? A lot of people said, don't worry, it will come back. Don't worry, it will come back. You can be sure those people heard that about 1,001 times. It's hard to even look at natural gas. United Healthcare, just getting clobbered, 14% today. Oil, now this chart's wrong, everybody. I'm having that same problem with oil and gold on my charts. But it's down, third biggest down day today. VIX, well, look at that. Look at that. I heard that 50 cent guy, you remember that 50 cent guy that I told you bought options on the VIX 50 cents? I heard today he made $1 billion. Verizon, well, let's take a look back at the VIX. It is off of its high. This is a little bit interesting here, though. You see how we were going up and up and up and up and up and up and up? Well, the volume has kind of tapered. It hasn't got up to these areas. So we are going up here now on lower volume than we were back here, which obviously I don't know, but the way that I read that is that fewer and fewer people are buying these high prices. That's why the volume is lower, which to me could be bearish for the VIX, but of course I don't know that. Verizon down 2.23%. I think Walmart's up. Walmart's up a little bit. It was up much higher earlier, but it is one of the few things I've seen above the 200-day moving average. Energy down 16%. Yeah. XLF, which is the financials, down 11.64%. Real estate down 8%. So, just a month ago to where we are now, it's down 31.76%. And these are basically the home builders, but I would imagine, if anybody has any thoughts on this, but I actually do have some realtor friends, but it'd be interesting to see what's happening to real estate prices in this last couple weeks. Utilities down 7% today. These are supposedly safe money areas, but at least it's not making a new low. And healthcare, I don't see anything there. So there was really only one thing that I was watching with any seriousness, and that would be Apple's trying to rally a little bit for you. Joe, get on up there. Joe says, go Apple, go Apple, go. I agree. Let's take a look at it on a little bit. Well, here we go. This is good. This is one of the fake out bars. Here's day one, day two, washes out and closes below. That is a bearish bar. If we can close above that day one's high there, that's whenever you have a negative signal followed by a bullish signal, that's pretty good. Pretty good, but we'll see what happens. All right, take a quick look here at current positions. Apple, I'm already out of, but I do have the puts. Again, I do have the puts here down to 170. Will they hold? I don't know. It's 70 points away. Seems like it should, but not when you're down 10 points today. That could be a week, right? Disney sold the 50s. I feel pretty good about these. I mean, I have $36 in protection, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Gold directional trade looks like it is losing the 200. Qs 130 is my stop, so I'm just going to hold these. I'm going to hold these until it gets down and closes below my strike price. So it definitely has some protection, and like I was mentioning yesterday, in my opinion, and I'm not recommending this for anyone, but just for me in my position, the best approach right now with all the volatility and all the craziness is for me to pick some ridiculous low strike prices based upon support in multiple time frames, and see if you can run out the clock. And if you have to get filled down there 30-40% lower, then take that, then make the decision at that time. The SPY, again, puts again, I sold down here to 200, so that gives me 34 points in protection for the next 2 days, but at this pace, it might be close. I'm actually about break even on that trade at the moment. And then Exxon. Exxon's the one that concerns me the most. There is only about 22% protection on that one, and it's down 12% today. So we shall see. We shall see. Anybody else looking at anything today? Oh, okay. Christopher says, I've been shorting the DAX and S&P 500. Fantastic, Chris. Glad to hear somebody's making something. Steve says, the old mighty ERX trading at 61 cents like a penny stock. Is it? Oh, That's triple leverage, right? Oh my. Steve always mentions about the just destruction that can happen with leveraged ETFs. 61 cents, down at 64.12%. Can you imagine, everybody? Can you just imagine if your stop was the 200-day and you didn't adhere to the 200-day when it was $18? Wow, Steve, thanks for pointing that out. Christopher said Gilead might be worth a look. Chris, do you have the symbol for that? Or is it GILD? That sounds familiar, but I could be wrong. No, that's it. Yeah, it's looking good, but you know my filter, it's a little too high for me to buy up here over the 1ATR channel. Mount Doji says BB. Will be a penny stock. Oy vey. Steve Burns says JP Morgan says it will close 20% of branches because of the coronavirus. Yep. Frank says those charts are hard to look at. Joe says go Apple. Kamal says triple leverage can go to 0. Yes. Bing He said my Zoom going up. Hey, let's take a look. Thanks to Steve for pointing that out yesterday. Good. I'm glad. Let's take a look. Hey, it is going up. Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one. Wow, 5%. Nice, Bing He. Very nice. You know, the formation was good. We were above the 1ATR channel. We came into the value zone. We did find some support. I just didn't have the valid trigger on it. That's the reason I didn't take it. Steve says, that's great, Bing He. I added it to my watch list along with mRNA. mRNA. Oh, that one's up nice too. Kamal says Amazon looks decent, relative strength. Hey, Apple's rallying. Apple's rallying. Fantastic. Joe. Ooh, can it stay above the 200? Who knows? Hey, Jackson, good to see you, bud. Hope we've had some profit today. I have not. I have not had any profit. Yes, Amazon's hanging in there, right? It's hanging in there. I'd feel a little better if it could get over the 200-day, but we'll see. And then Walmart. Yeah, Walmart's up nicely today. Man, has this been epic. All right, let's take a look-see here. Oh, Apple has a chance of closing over. We'll find out here in a little bit. Look at the rally on Disney, everybody. Look at this rally with this huge amount of volume. Close above the open. I like that. Not going to do anything with it because I have those puts, but that is good. It's made a high for the day. Gold, oh, it's going to be right on the line, 140.72. So I may be able to keep gold. Exxon's had a big rally. Let's take a look at this intraday rally here and see what's happening. 5-minute bar. Yes, my gosh. Well, it did build quite a base down here, didn't it? These are the 5 minutes. Hey, Joshua. Good to see you, bud. Josh says, hi, Greg, and all wild times. Hope all is well, and thanks for being here. Well, thank you guys for being here, right? Keep me on the straight and narrow, right? So I think we're helping each other. You know, there have been times where I've been tempted to take a stab at stuff, but I just have not done it, thankfully. Hey, look at this. Oh, man. Is this going to close above the 200-day? It might. Everything's making a high for the day now. Well, not everything. Well, that certainly helped on the P&L on my end, I can tell you that. I'm thumbing. All right. Well, gold is above the 200. Interesting. We're only down 1,837 points here. Apple's right there at that 200. Tesla's still under the 200. So I'm already queued up for my overnight SPY trade, my quarter. Disney has rallied $10. Unbelievable. Maybe that was the low in Disney. I don't know. But, you know, this volume on this kind of reversal bar is pretty good. Any news out there? Hey, Jackson, I don't know if you heard, but had a big earthquake here this morning. It woke me up, shook the house. It was 5.7 on the Richter scale. We've had about three or four aftershocks. One of them was right during the live stream, so that was freaking crazy this morning. Okay, so Senate has voted to pass corona relief bill to expand paid leave. Okay, good. Gold's going to be right there on the line. We have a few minutes. Looks like Apple has rejected the 200. Gold's going to be real close to holding. And everything else is our puts. Man being he, I'm glad to hear about Zoom for you. I really am. Yeah, Boeing got to 90. Oh, well, there it's rallied. Joshua said self-control is at a whole new level. Boy, I'd say. Steve said, oh, Senate moved a bill. Good. Greg, have you thought about changing your watch list to remove these big cap stocks? I don't know. I have not given that a lot of thought, but my gut is I kind of like to stick with the bigs. You know, I like to stick with companies I know and understand. Down only 6% now. That's good, Bruce. The market closing down, sale, everything must go, discount prices. Oh no, you okay, man? Yeah, I'm okay, but it woke me up. It was crazy. I mean, Salt Lake International Airport's totally closed, evacuated. Power's out in Salt Lake City. Impacted by the quake. Hope you're safe. Yeah, I'm good. Hey, Greg, good to see you. Earthquakes in Utah. Who knew? Glad you're okay. Well, we are on a fault line, so it's not that surprising. But man, did that shake my house. Holy smokes. Katie didn't care, though. She was not worried about it. Okay, we have 1 minute. And I better get that queued up in case I have to get out of gold. It's going to be a photo finish for sure. 72, it's right there. Currently it's under. 10 seconds. Now it's above. Now it's above. Now it's below. Now it's right there. Ah, I missed it. I missed it. Okay. Wow. Man, what an unbelievable comeback. And Apple did close above the 200. Thankfully. Good job, Joe. Good job. Dang, you know, I had to sell mine down here, but I had to stick with my plan, right? Okay, and then Two 240 even on my overnight spire. 240 even. Oh. Well, that's good. Because it's a 240-101. Man, I hope everyone's staying safe out there. I think you are. It seems to me I haven't seen much damage from anyone on there, and I'm really glad, really glad to hear that. We haven't sold off immediately after the markets closed, so that is positive. Boy, one day it just seems like it's all coming to an end. The next day we have these huge rallies. Everything feels optimistic. It's insane. It's insane. So no new trades today other than the overnight SPY trade. Jackson says, I was talking to a mate of mine from Taiwan last night, and he was talking to me about Zoom. Yeah, a lot of people are using it, you know, having to stay in. Big cap is the new small cap. That is true. That is true. You should craft a poem starting with that, Frank. That first line would get people's attention. That's great. Jackson says, so being he is in Zoom. Yeah, let's take a look at Zoom. Yeah. Yep. Steve brought this to our attention yesterday. You know, we were above the 1 ATR channel. We pulled back into the value zone. We had this nice sideways movement. I didn't take it. I saw it, but I didn't take it just because I didn't really have a valid V1 and this day one bar was too big. But it could care less what I thought, and it went up. But that's, you know, that's what happens. That was stressful. Stayed with Apple. Good, Joe. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Bing He says, how come you need not do an earthquake drill such as evacuating to a safe place? I don't know. That sounds more like a city kind of situation where I'm kind of up here in the hills. But we do live on a fault, so it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, here, I'll show you. Let's see. Here we go. Earthquake updates. 4.6 aftershock rattles Utah, largest since initial quake. So the initial one was 5.7, and the one that you heard me talk about during the live stream today, the one that I was like, oh, we're having another one, 4.6 aftershock. That's the one. This was not the big one. This is a wake-up call. How to be ready and survive an earthquake. Huh. Look at that, what it did to the roof there. Man. Well, like I said before, stock market crashes, pandemics, and earthquakes. We got the trifecta. Ramble says, these rallies to end the day are very scary. I think they make things very dangerous. Totally, 100% Ron. I agree with you. Philip Davis. Hey, Philip. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Philip says, SPY down 0.51 post-market. Is it 0.51 only? That's like being up. Jackson says, I tell you, Greg, I have a mate who is interested in the market, and I'm starting to reveal my trades with him and another guy on WhatsApp, and it sure makes you trade much better. Oh, good. Good. I like the word reveal. Jackson says, because your actions are where your mouth is. True. Showing them your wins and losses, I really like that it adds a layer onto my trading to ensure I don't break my rules, etc. Good. Kamal says, dance through the quake, just like Katie and Greg. Ramble says, didn't know Salt Lake was on a fault as they building their buildings to earthquake code and such. Yeah, we're on a big fault. I think it's called the Wasatch Fault. Bing He says, can you still go hiking with this earthquake? I am going to, although maybe it's not such a good idea. rocks coming down and so forth. Who knows? Okay, well, listen, it's been fun for all of us to go through history together. I'm glad at least we have this recorded and be able to go back, and 10 years from now we can talk about the crash of the market or the end of civilization. At least we have a little bit of a video record. So, hey, look, if you have any questions or comments or anything we want to discuss, let's do it. But just first, I want to put in my quick little plug for the day and let everybody know that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time. I do have a course. It's 5 sessions. Each session is between 2 and 3 hours. It's a pretty intensive course. I teach you everything I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader from my coaches and mentors like Steve Burns and Dr. Alexander Elder and Carrie Lavorne and Larry Williams. And it's a pretty intense course. It involves me teaching everything that I know. And I enjoy teaching, and I had really good success with my clients. I think they have a much better take on what's going on with the market, or at least know how to look at the market regardless of what it's doing. This is a bit of aberration right now, I've got to say, though. But if you're interested in taking the lessons, please let me know. You can send me a message on Twitter. You can send me a message to my email. My email is in the description of this video. I do like to have a free Skype call with a prospective student just to learn more about them, what their trading goals are, what their challenges have been, what their approaches are. Then they have a chance to ask me any questions and kind of get to know each other and see if we're a good fit, going forward. And then if we are, we'll schedule up the lessons. So anyway, like I said, if you're interested, reach out to me on Twitter or send me an email which is in the description here. So there's my plug. And lastly, if you like today's content, if you find this channel helpful, appreciate it if you would hit the thumbs up button before you go. Helps build the channel, and that would be awesome if you could. Kamal says, thanks, stay safe out there. Evan says, I'm not clever enough to figure out how to profit during these times and sticking to cash. Yeah, it's a real conundrum, because if you take a stab and you buy it at the bottom, you seem super smart. If you take a stab and it just continues to go down, you're like, why did I possibly buy? What was I thinking? Right? So sometimes you look like a genius, and sometimes you look the opposite of a genius. And then sometimes, if you're a price action trader like me, you might miss a huge amount off the bottom, huge amount, compared to just taking a stab at it. But, I have to follow my rules. I can't just take a stab at it because I have a gut feeling. You know what I mean? So I feel you, Evan. I feel your struggle there. Dr. J says, better to take your earthquake books along on your hike. Yes, I will. Thanks. If end of civilization, we can reminisce around a fire in an earthquake crater near Greg's place. Talk about when we had money in a thing called the stock market. We now need to sell 2 goats to we now need to sell 4 goats to buy an iPad. Could be. Goats might be the new currency. Ramble says, I know what it talking about. I miss Blue Apron. Been watching that thing for over a year. Yeah. It's always so obvious after the fact, right, Ron? Frank says the charts are almost a graph for the earthquakes. Boy, that's true. That is certainly true. This has been tough sledding. Really tough sledding. Joe, man, I'm glad Apple closed over the 200 for you. Who knows? Thing is, we haven't had more than a one-day rally. We've had one-day wonders that have been immediately just hammered back into the ground mercilessly. What's going on here after hours? Maybe up a touch, maybe? A touch. Well, better than nothing. Jackson says, how's everyone's head during this? Yeah, anyone have any thoughts on that? I can tell you, for me personally, Jackson, this has been a tough year for me. I haven't had a losing year like this in a long time. I mean, of course, it makes sense why, right? But the way that I'm looking right now is that I'm not trying to make the money back. I'm not trying to make the losses back. I'm just trying to, you know, hopefully by the end of the year have mitigated some of the losses. That's kind of where my head's at. Kamal says, and to the scientists out there, all we need is one antiviral. Yes. What's people's feeling? I mean, you too, Greg. Even pros like Steve. This is just monumental. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, taking losses this year, trying to fight the urge of not trying to make it all back, and I have, I haven't made any dumb moves. I'm just trying to hopefully at the end of the year I will have mitigated some of the losses, but I don't really in my mind think I'm going to have a big profitable year. I'm just trying to chip away at some of the losses here if we ever turn around. Fabino, I'm okay. I'm not trading, but I've been buying lots of long-term stocks. Okay, good. Evan says my head could be in a better place. Yep. The charts were my heart monitor at 1559. Jackson says, thanks, Grace, for sharing. Frank says, Rudyard Kipling has a great poem called If that is perfect for these times. Oh, do you have it handy? Okay. Yeah, I guess it's going to be a little weird to be outside if the earthquake comes, right? Yeah, watch the news for Utah. Hopefully we won't have any more big earthquake headlines. Hopefully that blew off a little steam from the fault, but who knows? Who knows? What a day. I almost start just laughing every day about how this has been, but none of this is funny, obviously, but Joe says, take care, Greg. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow. Happy hiking. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, man. Good call on Apple. Good prediction on Apple rallying in the last 20 minutes. Uh, Fabino says, I think it is not a trading market, but the perfect opportunity to build strong portfolio. Lots of stocks have their multiples really chip. Yeah, I totally agree. For long-term people, people that are dollar cost averaging, they're hopefully getting some good buys down here for sure. Jackson says, I just want to ask, as when times are hard, and especially us guys can go underground in our minds and not share. So it's a good time to talk. And Greg, this channel means so much to everyone. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Jackson. I hope it helps. I'm just glad that there's a place we can come together, talk about this stuff. Trading, a lot of people trade by themselves. And so, it's good to get, a variety of opinions, have a place where people can kind of vent or, talk about how they're feeling. So not to get too woo-woo, but I'm glad we have this here, and I'm really thankful for everyone that's here. I mean, we have such good members in this group and really smart, and it's been nice. So thank you, Jackson. Jackson says, times like this can make you great at the market. 100%. My gosh. If this is not a learning experience, I don't know what is. So today was the largest earthquake in 28 years. No deaths have been recorded, Various gas leaks and instances of building damage have been reported. A 4.6 aftershock rattled the Wasatch Front shortly after 1 p.m. Yes, that's true. That's the one that I talked about shortly after we got going. Rumors of a bigger earthquake coming later Wednesday are untrue, according to Utah emergency officials. Like, how would they know? Oh, 90% of earthquakes, the first quake is the strongest. Officials are asking people to stay off the road and stay home if possible. Well, I imagine a lot of people are home right now. Some of these cities have declared a state of emergency. Holy smokes. Dan says, any ideas on how to filter SPY trade? It seems to me like the SPY trade is one indicator. You know, the way I've been filtering it, I want to continue with it. But you know, what I filtered is taking a half position under the 200-day moving average. And now that it's so volatile, taking a quarter position. But you know, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to take a half position under the 200. I do it on lots and lots of my trades. But I can't give you any actual facts and data how that would change it. Jackson says, to drop my 5 cents worth, I obey my stops and get out like a boss. I really don't pause to think. You pause and you're down a large cliff in a free fall. Totally true. This market is completely unforgiving. And spring arrives at 11:50. Oh, today spring arrives? Well, maybe that's the turning point. It's the end of winter is what you're saying? That would be good. You know, if we can learn anything here, everyone, it's position size, right? Position size is the only thing that is saving people right now, and account heat. You know, can you imagine, you know, if you're 100% invested in this, 100%? Oh my gosh. And again, I'm just grateful that I've sold these puts to give me some protection. And when the market moves like this, it doesn't, you know, doesn't destroy me like a directional trade would. Wow, I didn't even notice this. My Apple puts went positive. My Disney puts went positive. My Q puts are still negative, but not too bad. My SPY puts are positive, and my Exxon puts are positive. Is this true? Oh, I don't trust that. That's what my charts say, but the numbers don't. Sometimes you get weird after. Hope springs eternal. There you go. Jackson says, and when I get in, I look at strength I look at strength and some show of indicators. I'm not believing for the past few weeks that we are at a bottom. I feel that's dangerous to predict a bottom. 100%. 100%, Jackson. You know, William O'Neill, who started Investors Business Daily, you know, I listened to this a little while ago, but, you know, when he's talking about market bottoms, he wants to see, you know, from the bottom, a move up, an upward move that's more than twice the volume of the down move. And you can see, look here on SPY, this is pretty good. I mean, it's not double, but at least, you know, I mean, we're still down, so it's not an up bar, but we are higher than the open. So, you know, but the Disney one was pretty impressive to be down 10 points more. We were down 14 points and only ended up down 4 points, only down 5% where we were down 14% or whatever it was, but on this huge volume, and there was a lot of shares trading hands, and it looks like to me, I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but my first thought is there were a lot of weak hands that were bailing out of this and a lot of strong hands that were buying this up. Kamal says the big question is if those puts stay positive for a day or 2 days. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? You're right, Kamal. I mean, for us to even get more than 1 day up has not been impossible. Every single rally has been sold immediately, and we've had a 2,000 point rally, a couple 1,000s, if I remember correctly. It's all hazy now. Frank says, for me, volatility is a big part of risk reward. Yeah, of course. Yes. I mean, as volatility expands, you know, if you keep the same position size and volatility expands 4 times, it's like taking a 4% position size. Instead of taking a 10, it's like taking a 40. Can you imagine the people that were leveraged in leverage ETFs or futures? Even worse. Ugh. Well, at least it was a bit of a positive sign that we rallied off the low. Is it enough? Who knows? You know, I imagine the news is just going to continue to get worse and worse each day, just from the numbers perspective. If those puts stay put. Haha, good one. Good one, good one. All right. Well, Dan says IBD has a phone app and it gives percent of a stock is up or down. I like IBD. I like IBD. Well, does anybody have any other questions or any other comments or anything that I could answer for you? Let me know. IBD, who that? That's Investors Business Daily, Jackson. Go to invest. I think it's ibd.com. They're really good. William O'Neill's famous trader. He wrote a book, How to Make Money in Stocks, and it's a great book. It really is a great book. He was one of the market wizards. He was interviewed on Market Wizards. Frank says the virus is the elephant in the room. Man, I'd say, yeah. Does anybody know anyone that's got it? I had a friend last night call me certain that he had it, but I don't think he does. Based upon a doctor talking to him earlier today. Alrighty. Jackson says, I know 3 people in Northern Australia. How about that? Should be interesting. I get a lot of calls after the market closes from some of my friends that are big investors, and be really going to be kind of interested to hear what they have to say or what they did. If they got in lower, if they sold lower. Yeah, it's tough. Near Tom Hanks quarantine. The famous Tom Hanks quarantine. And they are all fine. Okay, good. Yeah, interesting times. Interesting times for sure. Just make sure you have your feet planted on the ground. Don't try to pick a bottom. You know what I mean? Make sure you position size very, very conservatively with this volatility. Symptoms, but not elderly and rocking on. IBD has their own ETF called FFTY. Oh, that's the IBD 50 probably, right, Frank? Wow, it's just amazing to me that Walt Disney rallied $10. My goodness me. Yeah, let's see how Apple closed into the close. Yeah, big, big, big. Disney big. Spy good. Exxon good. Christopher says, yes, my next door neighbor, she's an ambulance driver. Oh, interesting. Frank says, yes. Jackson says, as long as it's not IBS. Dan says, FFTY, not good. Jackson says, so Greg, I thought you said you don't deal with penny stocks. No, I don't. Which is a penny stock? Which one are we talking about? Thanks, Miko25. Good speaking with you last night. That was great. That was great. And I look forward to working with you. I really, really do. Oh, like Apple and Amazon, are they penny stocks yet? Whew, incredible. Well, I'm going to head out in the mountains and see what it's like to walk around if we have an aftershock with an earthquake. Be interested to see how Katie responds to that. All right, listen, I'm glad we had a bit of a reversal here today. Who knows? Who knows what's coming here? We'll just have to get through it. But again, good time to follow your rules, have a plan, position size small in relationship to this volatility. And don't get over correlated. Don't have too many positions. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I hope this is helpful. And on the way out, if you don't mind, if you hit the thumbs up, I really would appreciate it if you could do that, if you found it helpful, right? And hope you have a good rest of your day. And I hope you go out and do something nice for somebody today. I mentioned yesterday, maybe you know somebody that's kind of, lives alone, or they don't get out much, and they don't have any support. Give them a call. At least say hello. Let them know that you were thinking about them, and really, really might make their day. And especially in this kind of situation, this would be the time. That would be a good, nice kindness to do for somebody today. Jackson says, Bing says, thanks, thank you, bud. Dan, thank you. Jackson says, hope Katie isn't too shaken up. I know the pooches don't like loud noises. Yeah, it hasn't phased her, but she's kind of deaf. So, all right, everybody, have a good rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see what the circus brings to town tomorrow. Okay, bye now. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation, and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.